Hello, I think we are live. Yep.
Hi,
Welcome.
everybody.
Hello. Welcome to New Comic Book Day Book Club. Nailed it that time.
You got it.
Um, this week is a little different for a few reasons. First of all, we don't have a guest. We are back to our format for episode 1, where it's just myself and the Robin to my Batman, John's Comics with Kids.
I'm perfectly accepting of that moniker because I almost prefer Robin, so I'm okay with that.
All right. Well, everybody wins then. And the other thing that is a little weird is that John is streaming this or doing this from his phone over cellular data. So he cannot see the chat and he might be a little choppy, but we're going to make the best of it that we can. He also, did I say you can't see the chat? Yes, I said you can't see the chat. So I'm going to say hello to some people.
Chat at all, which is a bummer to me because I love the chat a lot. So I'm going to be counting on Alec to kind of hook me up. The biggest problem I've got is this little red light here on my modem is just killing me. So I've got it on my phone. I'm hopefully, the benefit to you is being in low res is probably a better thing for my look. So you get there's a win-win there somewhere. I'm also sitting on the floor in this little condo with a heater next to me just so that I don't freeze to death. Oh, and congrats to Jeffrey Henson. I forgot to say, Jeffrey Henson hit 300 subs just a little bit ago. So big congrats if he's in the room. I don't know if he's in the chat.
Yeah.
He hit 300 subs. Sam's Tangled Web, I think, hit 200 subs this week. Awesome, guys.
NYC must have hit 200, I would assume, by now.
Did he?
He was at 199 last I checked. That was a couple days ago. So I'm going to say hello to some people in the chat room. Big Will had arrived before we started. Wingnut is here. Decaf Raven, Comic Books NYC, Great Legend, Jeffrey, Comic-Con Henson, Bake the Snake, TJ Watson, Chris Barrett, Kachung, Comic Tom is here. I Got Issues, as always.
Awesome.
The Boy Who Had 7, Comic Head 84. So a lot of really cool people here. Fire Guy Ryan just joined because we're not reviewing a book. So, of course, he's going to show up.
Hey, wait. If we were doing Green Lantern, he would have been here first.
Yes, that is true.
And it's only fair. I missed their last live stream, too. I was not able to listen today. So it's only fair.
Well, you can't get them all. So before we begin, we are not reviewing a book this week, as I just said. We are going over our 2019 want lists because it was a pretty light week, to say the least. So we decided to just do something a little different and have some fun, and we're going to go over our want lists. But before we start, I had planned to reveal the winner of the race that I'm doing between CBCS and CGC because I was supposed to get a package today. And I was at work and got a notification saying, hey, we tried to deliver your package and no one was home. And I was like, that's weird because I know my wife is home today and I told her it was coming. And so I was like, maybe she was out with the dog in like the 5 minutes that the package should come. So I texted her and I said, hey, I guess you must be out because I just got a notification that FedEx tried to deliver. And she said, nope, I have not gone anywhere all day and no one has knocked on the door. So I called up FedEx and said, what's the deal? And there was also no usually they'll leave like, sorry, I missed you thing on the thing.
Yeah, a little note you have to signature verification or something.
Right. So I said, okay, you need to send the truck back out because that's unacceptable that you just blew off my house. And they said, yeah, sorry, we can't do that. I said, well, you have to try. And so they said, okay. And they put me on hold for a while and they came back. They said, well, we sent out a thing and asked them to go out, but it's en route back to the facility. So we can't guarantee anything. I said, okay, can I pick it up at the facility? It's a ground shipment. So this facility goes back to, you can't pick it up from. So I was like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? And they said, well, we'll deliver it tomorrow. And I said, what guarantee do I have you're not going to do the same things you did today? And they said, oh, well, that won't happen. That won't happen. I was like, well, it happened today. So I called up
I
I
like that you're
called.
not blaming your wife at all about this. That's nice.
Yeah. Oh well, she was home. What is she supposed to do?
I'm just totally joking.
Um. So I called up the grading company, which I won't say yet, and said, "Hey, can you reroute the package to my work, or you know, allow them to hold it at a facility because they set it so there's no options that I can, um, manage the shipment." And they said, "No, sorry, we can't do anything. Um, you just," I said, "So what happens if they can't deliver it or they blow me off again?" They said, "Well, after 3 times, they might hold it or they might send it back to us." And I was like, "Oh, great." So,
What I like about this story though is like it's almost like I was saying before. It's like this great TV show that you're a cliffhanger show that you're waiting to see how it's gonna end, and just when you think it's like legit gonna end, there's another episode that you didn't know there was another finale coming.
yeah. Um, so the chat is saying a lot of things. Fire. I got issue said FedEx equals liar, liar, pants on fire. Um, Great Legend said sounds like the driver ate too many donuts. Um, Jeffrey Comic Con says I feel scammed. Great Legend, I feel violated. Um, I got issue said she should have chased down the truck. I don't think the truck ever even came to my house because my dog would have barked. So I think they just were like, well, that's a little out of the way of my route, so I'm just not going to go and say that they weren't home. FedEx and Amazon do that. Chris Barrett said, which yes, Amazon has done that to me before as well, and they caught hell from me too. Great Legend said Alex should give somebody a roundhouse. Yeah, someone's going to get a choke slam, pile driver, DDT combo. Typical for this time of year. Barbarian Kung Fu says, hello, Barbarian Kung Fu, welcome to the chat. TJ says, this is not unusual. This poop emoji pisses me off. Yeah, I don't know.
It's
like,
frustrating. I know you're the only one that's dealing with both companies, but specifically CBCS as well. Like the delays and the wait, and then of course to have this kind of as the awful cherry on top of
yeah,
this.
and like FedEx, you have one job. Just deliver the thing that says that it needs delivering. That you just need to drive and knock.
Oh, I want to thank Steve B. I just got a subs. He just subbed me up. He must be
Very cool.
in the. So thank you, Steve B.
Yeah. Jeffrey Comic Con says, give him the Blanca electric shock roll. I got it. She said you should blind them with an intense light show, Jubilee style.
Ah, there you go.
Now you're talking. I got issues. Now you're talking my language. So, if it does come tomorrow or soon or ever, I'll do an unboxing and reveal the winner. But as of yet,
pumped because my mystery mail call from Comic Tom arrived Christmas Eve. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to like delay this. I'm gonna have to do it after the new year when I finally get in. And I was like, I heard it. I did the little scanning sound right outside my door, Christmas, like midday Christmas Eve, and I was like, what are the odds that this thing will make it on time? So I was able to rush through a little unboxing and share that right before going on vacation. So that was awesome.
Decaf Raven said USPS delivered my Bueller box to the wrong house. I had to walk around the neighborhood looking for a box. I'm sure it looked shady. Yeah, man. If I saw someone walk up on my porch and grab a box, I would certainly.
Then what did he do? Did he just palm it? Just steal it?
Well, I don't know. If he just saw his name on it.
Solve that problem. Oh, that's a riot.
I got it. She said that's her power right. She runs around with 4th of July sparklers.
Zing.
No, man. Comic heads come in my defense, so how dare you underrate Jubilee's power like that? A light show? LOL. Yeah, man. Blast you with sparkles. Anyway, so let's get to our books because I have to work at 7 in the morning tomorrow. So I don't want to go super late tonight.
So I will say, for me at least, the inspiration for a lot of this sort of end of the year stuff I've been doing has been Tony Sanders and he's had some contests and some ideas where he wanted to hear from people about what they got this year and what they want to get next year. And so when I like an idea, I kind of take it to the extreme. I kind of go as far as I can with it.
Yeah.
So I been building this sort of epic 4-tiered list of books for next year, because obviously none of us have just like 6 books that we want to get. All of us have a litany of books, and are happy to like pass on something because it gives you an opportunity to pick up a different book in its stead.
Yeah,
So I
and
kind
this
of been putting this together.
and this was
And
all kind of John's idea. He suggested it, and I was totally on board. So
well, yeah, and then you came back with, yeah, really, this sounds like a fun thing we could totally use. And so we ended up coming up with 4 different tiers based on value of the book. We had what we called like a low, a medium, and a high. And then the 5th tier or the 4th tier would be the insane, like the one that is just like, well, the odds of me actually having the money to ever purchase one of these is not likely, but hey, I still want them.
right, and I think for me, like I'm trying to get into flipping some books, which is one of the shipments I'm waiting on. Has some stuff that I sent in to with that purpose to get them graded and to sell them. So I'm trying to build a little budget for maybe one of the insane tier books.
Nice.
Maybe.
And I am as well, at least if not for that tier, for the high tier. So we can talk a little bit about the pricing. Do you want to go over that?
Yeah, sure. So the low tier is $30 and under. And this is like a rough estimate. We're not like, I don't want someone in the chat be like, that book goes for $35. The next tier is 30 to 100, then 1 to 4, and then above 4 or 3 or 4, right around there.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the tricky thing too. We talked about was like the grade of the book, or the grade that you're wanting to get the book in would dictate where it would fall in a certain tier. So you might have a book that's a 5.0, and then it fits into the mid tier. But if that book was a 9.8, would be in the high or maybe even the insane tier.
Right. It's not only what the book is worth, but what we're willing to pay for it. So even if a book is going for over $400, but we're not willing to pay for that, maybe it fell into the middle tier.
Yeah.
TJ Watson said, I posted my Grails list on Instagram, and Comic Books NYC said, and I fainted when I saw it. It is a TJ Watson style want list. It is some serious books.
And the one of him like sleeping
with
on
the
his
slabs.
sword, it was incredible. All the slabs. You guys got to sub TJ on Instagram and on YouTube, because the dude is killer. And the pictures, the posts that he has on Instagram are among my favorites. And I tend to like just fly through and go there first and just look at what he posted that day.
Yeah, TJ is slaying it on Instagram, so definitely check it out.
Play Dragons.
Chris Barrett said, what about a mid-grade giant size X-Men? Oh, we mean like this one?
Yeah, I mean, the copy that I bought would fall because it was definitely above $400. And so the one but at the same time, if I had bought it in a 1.0, that would be definitely more than likely in the maybe the mid even category, depending on how damaged it was.
I also want to show off my sweater really quickly that I got for Christmas. It says the Silent Night King, and it's got the little horses down the.
And anything Game of Thrones themed is gonna get me a thumbs up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Thank you. You want me to start? You want to start?
You go ahead. You get started first. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to screen share because I have little grids. So here we go. These are my under $30 books.
Oh, man.
So the first one on the upper left, I'm sure you recognize, Web of Spider-Man #1, which I strangely have never purchased.
And I just purchased one of those in October, my very first one.
The next book is something I had never heard of until recently and have never seen. It's called Sky Between Branches, and it is written and drawn by Joshua Middleton. And I believe there's only one issue, but it has a number of covers. So
he did the interior work as well?
Yes, as far as I know, he did all of the artwork for it. It is fully by him.
That's cool.
Um, X Factor 24, first appearance of Archangel. I'm sure you recognize that one as well.
I do have a lot of that later run of X Factor, so I do have one of those, but it's definitely beat. It's not in the best shape.
And then 3 random Catwoman covers from the new 52, 35, 48, and 40. The 2 on the sides are Jay Lee covers, and the one in the middle is another Middleton, which I think is an underrated Middleton cover that you don't see very much. But like I never see these Catwoman issues in any shop, so they're not expensive, but they're not easy to find.
I've never seen them either, and I know that Ryan's always telling me if there's ever a character in DC that I want to get into, to dive into the new 52 version, because he says that was a great run all around. So, have you read a lot of these?
No, I actually have not. So I will probably, I would read Catwoman in trade or online or something, but she's a fan favorite character of mine, and I just like buying cool covers that I like. So I did it with Spider-Man for a while last year. I bought just a bunch of random Spider-Man covers that I just happened to like. So I think next year is going to be the year of Catwoman.
Nice. That's cool.
Comic Head said you could argue that Jay Lee Catwoman covers are greater than Art Germ Catwoman. I know John would probably disagree, but I would probably agree with that. I think Jay Lee is a wildly underrated artist.
You're gonna get Charlie very mad from my house.
Yeah, don't tell Charlie.
Check yourself. I'm just.
Boyad7 says, "No way, Comic Head Jay Lee rocks," but I don't know. I think those covers are really sleek. I love you know how I feel about stark minimalist covers, so I'm all about them.
Do you have any of that run, or are those the first 3 you're looking for?
Those are the first 3 that I'm going to be looking for, but there's a few more, but since we only had 6, those are the top 3. Steve B says Adam Hughes greater than any other Catwoman artist. Yeah, those covers are probably the best, but they also did not fit in, most of them under the $30 tier for the really good ones.
Right. Yeah. I think it's the most telling and interesting tier of the 4.
Yeah, and honestly, like it gave me the most trouble because the insane tier, I was like, boom, 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 like I know what I want. But
because we've wanted those all of our lives.
Right. When it came to like under $30, it was kind of like, okay, I buy those type of books all the time. So what is like, it's really hard to say like, oh, these are the things I'm going to hunt for. Right. I Got Issue said, I'm going to give up comic collecting and join the seminary in 2019. And TJ Watson says, keep going, Alex. Show me more things you want. You too, John.
That's basically what we're doing today. I didn't actually think about that until GJ. No, that's problematic.
That was not the intent at all.
No, this is not our shopping list for other people. It's our we're hunting for it list.
Yes.
Right, let me jump to mine.
Go ahead. Yeah, John's gonna do a little bootleggy.
All right. So this is my set right here. Let me back it out a little bit there. Top left corner is the last Alex Ross cover that I need for my Immortal Hulk run. And I will say it's possible that I've gotten this one already because a friend from Instagram saw that I was missing that issue and he said he had it at a Half Price Books near him and he bought it. I think he said he was going to go buy it and ship it to me. So I might have that one already. The middle one there is another Alex Ross. It's one of the covers he did from the Green Lantern run that was part of that one that Jeff Johns did. And I just really fell in love with this piece of art. I think it's an amazing cover. So I definitely want to get that. It's not worth anything significant, so it's an easy one to pick up.
It's a great cover, though.
The most expensive one on my list is this Wolverine issue 2. I had the full run, and my first issue is the one in the best shape, but my other ones are just beaters, and or I don't like this one. I don't even have. So that one definitely is the one that's the most expensive, but I wouldn't get a 9.8 or whatever. It would probably be a little lower. The bottom rung, I've never owned the individual issues for the Death in the Family storyline, and little by little, I'm trying to pick up those issues. I've read the trade many times and really love the story, but I definitely want to snag some of those. The middle one, oh, sorry, got a little pop up there. The middle one is from that New Avengers run. It's obviously the hot book that everybody wants right now, and I do think it's going to drop back down in value. So I'm not terribly worried about it. I have the full run of New Avengers minus this issue and the one right after it. So they're just at some point I'm going to need to find a good deal on one of those and just pick it up. And then the last one on this blind is there's a couple issues from that Donny Cates Thanos run that I don't have yet, and this one, issue 14, is one of those.
Very cool. Boy Who Had Seven says, I've got the bottom 3 ones for sale, John.
Uh-oh.
So
now I know I've got to go talk to Boy Who Had Seven. I got to say, too, as we go up this list, it's more and more the reality that, like, I've spent a lot at Christmas, and I can't buy many of these yet. I've got to, like, build up.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I just sold a book, and I've been talking to some of you guys about it. I just sold one of my first issue appearance of Spider-Gwen. I had 2 of them, and I bought them way earlier in the year, and the price apparently went up so high that I was able to sell one of the 2 issues for more than I bought the 2 for.
Yeah, it was a great deal.
And I obviously know they're going to continue to go up in value, which is why I've still got one and I'm going to hold on to it. But to be able to sell one of them for that amount and then be able to hold it like I'm doing is what basically Alec is talking about. Using it, I know that the guy who bought it really, really wanted it and he's going to really enjoy it. But for me, it was like, now I've got a little egg that I can start kind of like nurturing to try to turn into hopefully one of these high or insane books.
A couple more people have joined the room. Steve B, Blaster Stash It. Steve B asked, what New Avengers is that? That is the first appearance of Hawkeye as Ronin.
Yeah, issue 27, which is the only, like I said, the only 2 I'm missing from that whole run, because I bought for $30, I bought that entire run, minus 27 and 28. So 28 is not a huge key. That's definitely an even cheaper one. But 27 has gone up a lot. It's near that 25 range, and I think that's way overpriced. So I'm just going to wait for it to drop down again, and then I'll snag one.
Very cool. Moving on?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Next year, up to $100. Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man, number 64, first appearance of Cloak and Dagger. This is a book that I think is going like up and down, but definitely think I can find it for that under $100 price. If I can't, then it is.
I can't remember, but somebody just got this in like an AOK or something. Somebody
really?
Reggie, maybe TJ sent it to Reggie or something, but somebody just got that book, and I was like, that is a classic.
It's such a cool cover, and I really like Cloak and Dagger. I think they're cool characters. Unity number 0 red version, which was an incentive or something. I don't remember how you got it, but it is a variant. Same thing with Harbinger number 0 pink, which is what you needed to cut out all the coupons from Harbinger 1 through 6 and send away for. There's a blue version that I have that came with the trade paperback, but the pink one is fairly hard to find. Zatanna number 15, I, as John knows, recently bought 1 through 14 for a steal. And I'm really glad Maddie Thanatos is not in the room because I prefer this issue cover to 16. So I want this one more. I love that cover. It's so cool.
The way they do the lighting with the colors is on her name and on her face is so cool.
Adam Hughes, can't beat it. Uncanny X-Men 121, first full appearance of Alpha Flight. One of the few issues, thanks to TJ, that I still need in that run of that era of X-Men.
That AOK was crazy.
Yeah, I'm still reeling from it. And we were just talking about this before we started, 100 Bullets. Number 1, which I have strangely never owned despite being a big fan of the series. So It's
I
still really affordable, and I want to grab it before it's not, if they
yeah,
were turned into a show or something.
they're not. Yeah, they're not crazy expensive. And I will say, I bought 1 through 5 from a friend who had all 5 of them for a steal, and I'm really glad I did, because I do really love those characters, and you get so many great first appearances in that first 5 issues. It's awesome.
Some people are disagreeing with me that Zatanna cover is great, but doesn't got dem legs. Comic Head said Tony Sanders just joined the room. 16 dem legs, 16 dem legs, wingnut. Comic Books NYC agrees to me. Thank you. Preferred 16 too, Alec. Thank you very much.
Well, it's all right. If you want to jump to mine, we can see dem legs.
Yes. She's still got some dem legs in there. It's not totally without dem legs.
So I have dem legs on mine right there. We are clearly inspired by Matt and watching too much Thanatos. I've got 2 of his favorite books, and I think this was one of yours too, that Catwoman Adam Hughes with the lost numbers as her criminal numbers across the top there, or the bottom there.
Yeah, and I remember when that book came out, and I was working at a comic shop, and I remember putting it on the shelf and saying like, oh, I should buy this cover. It's sexy and cool, and didn't. What a jerk I am.
So I know that dem legs could probably be over $100. In fact, maybe both of these in a 9.8, but I'm a raw person, so I would buy these books in raw. And if they weren't mint condition, if they were like near mint minus, they would definitely fit into this bracket for me. Same with this Thanos 13, which I know that some people have got a whole bunch of. I know Tony Sanders is going to be super excited about this one right in the middle at the bottom row here, the First Century. He's been going on about how awesome the character is, and I fully agree. I've just started to get into him, and I want to snag one of these now. JD will be pumped on the Silver Surfer 3 there, which I've wanted for a while. I like Mephisto, the character, and I do think it's a cool first appearance, and the cover is so amazing. And so for me, that's the main reason I want that one. And just like you have the 100 Bullets that I own, and on your list, I have the Fables #1, which I think you own a really nice copy of yourself.
I have both covers.
So that one's been on my list for a while. I'm just hoping that I don't think that one. So I'll flip my camera around here. I don't think Fables will ever be like a show or a movie. I think there's going to be way too many complicated rights issues going on there. I know that most of them aren't like you can't own a copyright that's that old, but some of the likenesses issues that they'll run across make it a really complicated product to then transfer to a new medium.
So interesting story about that. It was supposed to be a show, and it was pitched to ABC, who said, oh, this is a great idea, but we're not going to do it because we already own all the characters because we're owned by Disney. And they turned it into
Once Upon a Time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely a true story. That is not like.
No, I totally believe it. But I also do think that, like, even if somebody right now decided they were going to buy the property Fables and try to make it into like an HBO show, I think there will be so many likenesses issues.
Yeah.
That I think it's just an absolute, beehive of problems. I think so I'm buying it not because I think it's going to be a spec anything. It's because I love those characters. I love those stories. Yeah. I want to own some of that. I think I own the second half of the run, but a lot of the early issues I wasn't around for. So I want to get
covers that. Are so great.
Along with some of that Adam Hughes love, because Adam Hughes is a writer, an artist that I did not collect until very recently. I'm just starting to get some of it.
If you don't have this already, you should pick this up. They're complete covers of James Jean.
Oh, wow.
It's super nice because his art is incredible. I want to get caught up on the chat a little bit. Is Zatanna for story any good, or are those just for cover books? For me, it's just covers. I actually never read them, but since I have almost the whole set, I probably will now. Blaster Stash said, I picked up Zatanna 14 through 16 for $2 a piece during a store moving sale. I had multiple issues, but I only grabbed one for a personal collection for my collection. Yeah, that's a dream, man, finding stuff like that. Tony Sanders says, you got to get that X-Men 121L flight. Yeah, that's why it's on my list, buddy. Sorry, that sounded super rude. Boywat7 said, LOL, you guys need to get a hold of me. I have Thanos 13 and Silver Surfer 3 for sale as well. So looks like you're going to be hooking up with Boywat7.
Boywat7, I think you and I were talking about Silver Surfer 3. So that's the one that I think I want to definitely get some chat going on between you and I. And I know you've got like 3 of the Thanos 13 because he got a 9.8, I want to say, for one of his 12 Days of Christmas unboxings, which I'm going to promote that as well. If you don't go check out Boywat7's channel, because his wife gave him 12 slabs, one for each day of the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah, it's incredible.
The unboxings are like just 3 to 5, maybe 7 minutes long at the most. And they're just so much fun. His enthusiasm, her knowledge of what he likes. Apparently she went through his eBay search lists.
Oh, really?
Started like, yeah. The like combined joy and love and all the great stuff that sort of come out. It was the best like of the holiday season kind of stuff that I saw.
Big Will asked John, what kind of condition are you wanting that Silver Surfer 3 in?
I don't need it in a mint condition because I do know it would probably bump it out of this category. I usually go for raw books. That's just my preference. When you start seeing the books I got for Christmas, some of them are just beaters. They might even, but they're a great Silver Age Grail key. So I might get them in a 1.0 just because it's like, I love this character or I love this storyline. And it doesn't matter to me that it's a 1.0. Like Tony Sanders and I see fully eye to eye on this. 9.8 doesn't mean anything to me as much as owning a piece of comic history that has a value to me personally.
Yeah. I got who said no Batgirl 23, JK. He just gave me a really, really sweet deal on that. And the X23 variant that I was looking for. So thank you very much. I got issues. You are super generous and super supportive of this channel. So thanks, buddy.
Well, I don't know if Carlito's in the chat, but Carlito took a book off of my list, and so did Matt Thanatos. They both, I don't have X23 first appearance NYX anymore on here. And I don't have that first Deathstroke appearance in New Teen Titans. Those books, I still can't believe I own them at this point, but they would totally,
that was incredible.
Not in the category, they probably would have been in the next category, the next tier. Those are books that would have made this list just like even 3 weeks ago.
Chris Barrett said, I got Flash 166 in today. Super cool. Steve B said, I got New Mutants 87 first print for $25. It's like a 6.0, but it's still, I'm pumped. That is a great deal on any grade.
And I feel the same way. I'm for Monday, I'm going to post a DC Grail, like a classic, I think it's a Silver Age classic book. And I got 2 of them for my buddy when I bought a bunch of books from him. And they're both 1.0. They're really just beat. But he gave me this amazing deal on them. And there were 2. It was like, it's going to be my multiple Monday post. So be ready for that.
I got a couple pieces of news for you. I'm going to go in reverse order of how they appear in the chat. TJ Watson said, check your Instagram, John, smiley face. And Tony Sanders said, John's Comics with Kids, don't buy Sentry because I'm sending you my raw copy for Christmas. You are not. So Tony there you go. You are insane. John can't see the chat. Sorry, I spoiled it. He's off camera. He's losing it. Oh my gosh, Tony Sanders. Oh, and then Jeffrey just texted. Sorry, I'm getting texts slower. That's okay. Jeffrey's one guy that has my cell number. He just texted. He knows that I can get texts instantly. So he just texted me the same thing. Oh, Tony, that's crazy, dude. Super generous of you, Tony. You are a righteous dude. And I'm getting books checked off lists here, folks. That was not the point of this show. That was not the point of this show. Big Will also says, well, if you don't, boy, you're cleaning up tonight. Big Will also said, well, if you don't care about condition, I got a copy you can have if you pay shipping. But talk with Boy7 first. You might have a greater deal. So we might want to get in touch with Big Will as well.
Yeah, apparently this is going to turn into us having to spend to get out there and we're going to get these books. That was not our point. The point was just to kind of get everybody talking about what's hot right now, what they're interested in. So clearly for both Alec and I, Adam Hughes, Zatanna, and then Vertigo #1s. It's been a bit of a theme already, even in these years.
Comic Geek McD joined. Welcome. And what else was I going to say here? I missed it. Jeffrey Comic Con says, I love the beater books. Those are my favorite. Yeah, I like them a lot sometimes too, because they have I said this in my very first video where it's they feel like they've been loved and read and enjoyed over the years. So it's they have a certain history to them. Yeah, man, people are showing some love tonight.
And my next two tiers, both are going to have books that for me to be able to afford them, and even in the high tier, they're going to have to be a little bit beat. And again, I'm that kind of a collector that does not matter to me. As long as if it was missing a cover or missing interior pages, that's a totally different story.
Comic Geek McD says it's 4:34 a.m. here. How's it going, guys? It's going well. It's very very early.
Where is he in Scotland?
Must be somewhere in the United Kingdom, I would assume. Boyout7 says, I love this community. Yeah, it is generous and wonderful, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. JD just joined. Sorry I'm late. Welcome. Better late than never. Glad to see you.
My tier 2 want list has some Buscema Silver Surfer 3 was on there.
Yeah, you just missed it.
So
exactly.
Jump tier
yeah. This is the third tier up to $400 ish.
So, and this is our so if you looked at the first tier as oh, this is a few dollars, and the second tier this was a few $10 bills. This one is, hey, these are a few $100 bills.
So here we go. As you probably know, I'm a huge Valiant fan. Harbinger #1 is a book that I have never owned, and because even when I was younger collecting Valiant, it was probably more expensive then than it is now even. So I could not afford it, and still just not ever found the right deal on it. I want it with a coupon. I want it in a pretty decent grade, and it's just tough to track down. Speaking of Vertigo, Preacher #1 is yet another book that I've never owned that I was foolish enough to not pull the trigger on at a comic shop before the show came out for under $100, and now it's dropped back down because the show is not that great. But so that's why but it's still in a higher.
I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but my high tier also has a Vertigo #1.
Oh, so there you go.
Go Vertigo.
X-Men 101, which I know can go for much more than the $300-400 range, but I'm not going to be looking for it in a super high grade. Just a book that I would like to own in a mid grade. Same thing with Mr. Miracle #1, which is kind of taking off right now. So I don't know if that is going to be achievable.
Well, the one thing I like about that X-Men 101 is it always felt like there was a nice wide range to prices on that, where you could go 9.8 and get a crazy expensive, insane book, or you could go lower mid-range and get a book that was at least reasonable for such a vital first appearance in that way.
Kachung says, I got X-Men 101 from a long box for $2. That is a bargain. You would win the hunt with that one.
Now, Mr. Miracle, I know, has been getting hot because obviously there's speculation that one day he'll make it, but also because that new series by Tom King was so freaking good. At least I hear.
So freaking good, and I want to do a video on it. Killer third tier from White Whale, he says. Terrors of the Jungle #10, LB Cole cover. I did use this in my LB Cole review, which was my preamble to my artist review series. And I just love that cover. The zebra cracks me up so much.
Is that an age book?
What's that?
It's a Golden Age book?
Yes. But in a lower grade, definitely achievable. And Iron Fist 14, First Appearance Sabretooth. Again, don't need it in a 9.8, but always a book I wanted to own.
And I can't remember where I saw it, but it might have been some of the things you've been doing with Reggie, talking about how that book retained its value better than a lot of Marvel first appearances. That Sabretooth first appearance has been such a consistent growth book.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever really like spiked huge or dipped significantly. I think it's been pretty consistent. Comic Books NYC said solid tier. Discovery Bay just joined. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, very strong chat room tonight. Yes, appreciate everyone for joining in. We got 33 viewers right now. I think that might be my highest when we've done on my channel.
That's definitely a record.
Thank you for everyone for joining.
I always joke that I'll get right under 30 every. That's like I'm right under. I never over that.
TJ Watson said 101, even in a 9.28 cheap. Yeah, that book has really taken off.
Well, I think people were hoping that the movies would really do something great with Phoenix, and they kind of have blown it most of the time with that character. And I'm hoping that the Marvel Cinematic Universe will one day redeem that book.
Boyo7 said, Alec, I have a Near Mint Plus Preacher and X-Men 101 Signature Series CGC 8.0 for sale. Well, finally, so my turn to talk to. We need to. Yeah. But
both going to be in negotiations very soon with Boyo7.
That is Near Mint Plus Preachers and a Signature Series. Who signed the X-Men 101? I mean, it doesn't matter too much. I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Now I'm going to remind everybody that I'm sorry. The way for those that have joined a little late, I'm using my phone to stream, so I have no way to see the chat. I'm in a very crummy Wi-Fi spot in Bryan Head, Utah, up in the mountains, so I can't see the chat. So I'm sorry if I'm not shouting people out, but I will be rewatching this at some point when I have internet again, just so that I can through the chat and say hey to everybody.
It's signed by Claremont.
Ooh, Claremont.
What number is Mr. Miracle? It is number 1, the original series by Kirby.
The older series, which what do you know? Was that in the 70s, right?
Yeah, it must have been
late 70s.
Yeah, because it's when Kirby went to DC.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you probably know the story about why he started working on strange books like Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen and stuff like that.
I don't actually. I mean, I know he was frustrated with where Marvel was, but I know he was also a really eccentric guy.
Yeah. So when he went to DC, and this is just a story I've heard, so please correct me in the chat if this is wrong, but he basically said, like, if I come to work with you, I don't want to take anyone's job. Because, like, I know I'm Jack Kirby, and I know, like, I'm a big shot, but, like, I'm not going to work on Superman. I'm not going to work on Batman. So, like, I'll work on something that you don't have someone working on right now, or I'll create my own stuff, but I'm not going to come in and take
that too.
What's that?
Because New Gods and
Mr. Miracle and yeah, for sure. All right, on to yours.
For mine, okay, here we go. So I'm glad that JD is here. He's gonna be happy that I got more Buscema in here. So this is the top row here has 2 books from last year on it that I was unable to get. I got 4 of the 6 books I wanted from last year. The only 2 I didn't were these guys on the ends here. I love Daredevil. I can't quite afford the yellow books at this point. That first red suit is one that I've always really, really wanted to get. And that Namor cover is so cool. Of course, Silver Surfer issue 1. I think that character is going to be really important in future years, but I also just really like that storyline and that character, so I definitely want to grab that. Saga #1 has been a book I've wanted for quite a few years. It's just the price. Every time I look at the price, I'm like, oh, it's too high. It'll go down. And then it just goes up again, and I'm kicking myself. For those that don't know, Forever People, for those that are not DC fans, that's the first full appearance of Darkseid. Depending
on Kirby book.
Pronounce vowels correctly. It's Darkseid.
Yes.
I recently, as part of the big Christmas purchases I made, I got the cameo appearances and their signed books and it made me want to sort of complete the trilogy of Dark Side, and that would be the book that I'm missing for that run. This is the book that is barely able to fit into this the middle one here. It does not really fit into this tier unless you get a really beat up copy. My girls have always loved Batgirl, and I've always thought Barbara Gordon was just the coolest, and would love to just own, even if it was just absolutely just destroyed, a copy of that classic cover and first appearance. And then my Vertigo book that has been out of my price range for quite a while, because there's constantly speculation of, will they make the movie? Will it be any good? They didn't make a movie. They made a TV show. So it's Y: The Last Man, #1, which, again, would not be a 9.8 slab.
Yeah, I actually own 3 of those books.
Whoa. Big boy.
Yeah.
Because it's a great story. If you've never read Y: The Last Man, it's definitely worth your time. And that's why I would want to own it. It's just an iconic story. But of course, the value is there because people really do believe that this is going to be huge, like The Walking Dead 1 or whatever.
I Love Sun Comics and Comic Core have joined. Welcome. Poor Man's Comics also joined.
I Love Sun Comics. I want to tell you, I've been watching a lot of your stuff. It's been really good. And and this Christmas, I snagged like 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 signed books. So I'll have to start sending you pictures and things as I start posting them, because I want to get your feedback on some of them. I don't think I overpaid on any of them, but you just never know. And especially as a guy who's just newer to DC than Marvel, I got a lot of DC signed books, and I'll have to get your feedback on some of that.
Comic Geek McD said, I love this chat idea, guys. Thank you very much. Poor Man's Comics said, my LCS had a Saga #1 on its wall for 160. I haven't been able to pull the trigger on it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it's going for, but that sounds a little high to me.
It depends on if it's slabbed. Like I saw when I was in San Francisco, I saw a slab 9.8 and it was like $300.
Barbarian Kung Fu said, I have the last yellow suit I can make available. JD confirms it is Dark Side. Yes, it is Dark Side. TJ Watson said those books will only go up. So saying that it is great, great choices. NYC just said, I bought volume 1 of the hardcover for Y: The Last Man. It is great. I have the whole set in hardcover. Definitely a good read.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those comic ideas that's so it has such a wonderful buy-in. The buy-in of having all the male species of mammal die out on Earth except for a guy and his pet monkey. If you can just buy into that, and they do such a great job in that first issue of getting you into it, the rest of it is just reaction to that. Much like Walking Dead issue 1, if you can buy into zombie apocalypse, the way that they build on that premise makes it so worthwhile, especially in those Walking Dead early issues and in the whole run of Y: The Last Man.
Gray Matter Hulk says, Y: The Last Man got me back into comics. It's a great book to jump back in on, and welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining.
I would say Vertigo as a whole did that for me, because I was doing Fables, I was doing Y: The Last Man, I was doing 100 Bullets. I was Vertigo crazy when I came back into collecting, and I pretty much wherever I jumped in on those books, I was collecting monthly from then until those comics ended.
Comic Head 84 said, Last Man is a tremendous book. What could have been a hokey theme was executed very well. Yeah, it certainly could have been super cheesy. JD said, I'm looking for a Tomb of Dracula #1. Yeah, it's a sweet book, man. All right, let's finish off strong with our insane tier.
Insane tier. Everybody
ready?
And the reality of this tier is that it's going to be a lot of books that everybody wants, but can we get to it?
There's one on here that I think I don't think is on everyone's list, but we'll see. Bone #1, first print. Outrageous to get one. But one of my favorite series of all time. So definitely always a book that I've wanted very, very badly, but can't afford. Marvel Spotlight number 5, first appearance of Ghost Rider. I have a very, very nice 9.4 Ghost Rider number 1. I will not be looking for this in a 9.4. That is ridiculous. Tech 880, one of the best Joker covers of all time. Yeah, and just outrageous that it has to be on this tier for a book that's really only hot because of the cover, but it is surprisingly expensive. X-Men 94, of course, probably on a lot of people's list who don't own it because it is a super great book. Blue Bolt, Weird Tales, number 114, probably my favorite LB Cole cover that I have personally seen.
The color work is crazy on that cover.
And a little book you may have heard of called Incredible Hulk 181. Discovery Bay says Bone is no way not attainable. Yeah, it's a 9.0 on eBay right now for like $1,200 or something.
Whew.
So that's my insane list.
And I will say, I own one of your insane books.
Is it X-Men 94?
Yeah. And it was the first book I ever bought off eBay. I was in college and I was like, it was a deal. And I had a crease going down, like from Nightcrawler's foot. He's upside down, face head down, and it's from his foot through to his hand. So it was a pretty big color breaking crease.
But still, I mean, that's a book that you, in a high grade.
And I paid less than $100. I paid less than $100 for it, and I've been so happy to have had it. And I at the time I was like, this is stupid. Why am I paying $100, almost $100 for this book?
Comic Geek McD said, "Wow, looking at this list just blew my wallet out the window." Yeah, it is. It's a lot of cash on that list. JD says, "Love the first Ghost Rider." Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
It's the books that we all want. Ultimately, I would even say it's the Reggie Simmons wall of books.
Yes.
Four of my 6, I know for a fact Reggie has.
Probably.
I know for a fact. I've seen them. He's held them up and made me cry several times.
TJ Watson said, X-Men 94, I want to upgrade my early childhood reading copy I bought off the rack is only a 5.5 only.
Yeah, low for you, TJ.
Boy Who Had 7 says, Marvel Spotlight 5 will be one of the prizes you can choose if you win my mystery box raffle. Going to offer ASM 300.
Everybody better enter then.
WWBN 32. What is WWBN? I can't place that. Marvel Spotlight 5 and New Mutants 98. Those are some really good prizes. NYC says I have Tech 880 and 181 of the rest of the list I don't have. Yeah, I've seen your Tech 880 is a nice copy. Comics NYC. I do have the original Ghost Rider with the horse. It is right over here somewhere. I'll find it in a second. Tony Sanders says X-Men 94 is on my list in 2019 as well. Werewolf by Night. Thank you. Werewolf by Night. WWBN. Yes. First appearance of Moon Knight. You can go ahead with your list.
Yeah, I'll jump over to mine here. Let me flip the camera around. So I have one in common with Alec, of course, and it's Hulk 181, a book that I've always wanted, but as the years have gone by, I've been more and more okay with maybe just buying a reprint copy and just being cool with it. My only DC book in my top 6. I love Dick Grayson and Robin. I think that he is just one of the coolest characters, whether it's Nightwing or all the iterations of Richard Grayson over the years. But I'm going to just pause and let the camera go to Alec. See, he's digging around back there. Now it's fun. But Dick Grayson as Robin is a big fan. I'm a big fan. Of course, X-Men #1. I really want that X-Men #1 book. It's just a classic, and that's a Reggie Simmons for sure. Bottom row is basically my icon section for me. Of course, first Silver Surfer, got to have the Galactus first appearance. My favorite all-time villain, Doctor Doom. It's one of the great covers and first appearances for me. I just love Doctor Doom, and one day that's one of the insane books that I'm definitely going to make sure I get someday. It's not going to be a book that I let slip. And same with what I think is still an undervalued book is Daredevil issue 1. I think that book is not priced in relation to other significant sort of Silver Age first appearances. And I think that it's going to continue to go up in a big way, especially if he ever makes a Marvel Cinematic appearance. But I've always loved Daredevil. He's always been one of my top 4 characters. And so that would make my list as well. So there are my insane books. The Robin book, obviously all of them would be books I go for in a low grade, but Robin more than any of the others, because obviously it's a lot age-wise older and would be harder to find anyway, but that.
So first of all, your list is much more insane than mine. I tried to make my list kind of like insane but possibly attainable, and yours is just like, here are books that I wish I could own possibly one day.
That's definitely what I went for.
Yeah. Who was it there who said, someone said, let me know when you win the lottery. Where'd that go? Oh, exactly. TJ Watson said, let me know when you win the lotto, John.
Yeah, right.
I can't find my Ghost Rider #1 right now, but it's over there somewhere. It's not in a high grade.
The 2 on my insane list that I'm most focused on are probably the Doom and the Daredevil. It's just building up that bundle and then finding one that's low enough and reasonable enough. I just really do think those characters are the ones that I appreciate most from a villain and hero standpoint.
That Doom book is like skyrocketed recently, as many of the Marvel keys have. Hulk 181, Fantastic Four 1, Daredevil 1, and Iron Man #1 are still like the most affordable of those. I Love Silent Comics said I've owned all of those Marvel books on that list at one point. Sure wish I had them now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Reggie, I know for a fact, owns 4 of them. He doesn't own the DC book, obviously, because it's
that'd be weird.
And he doesn't have, I don't think he has Dr. Doom yet. But
no, he does not.
And the copy that he recently got of Daredevil 1 may be the cleanest copy I've ever seen of Daredevil 1 in my life.
It's hard to see on camera sometimes some flaws, but the colors are real nice and it looks sharp for sure.
Well, so much freaking white on that Daredevil 1 cover.
Yeah.
And it looks freaking white on his camera.
Yeah. It's crazy. Cool. That's a good list.
Yeah,
I mean, there are definitely books on that are on my like all-time want list for sure. Like X-Men 1, Fantastic Four 5, definitely. But like I said, I tried to make books that like I may actually, like I said, try to go after one of these next year. So that's why I wanted to kind of put stuff in a range that was not really doable, but like if I dream hard enough and work hard enough, maybe it is doable. But
well, and now that you're potentially, I know Legend is in the audience, but I know that you're thinking towards some kind of auction things. I think you and I are both looking at taking some books that we've always really loved and cared for and have increased in value since we've originally purchased them, and then finding a new home for some of those so that they go to people in the community that really want them and love them and like we do, but that it creates a fund for us to allow us to get to those high or insane tiers if possible.
Yeah. And, one of the reasons why I am thinking about doing an auction is, it's partially selfish because I want to move some books to get some stuff, but I also don't want to put it on eBay and just have like some schmuck get it. Like I'd rather give someone a deal here that, I talk to all the time and who I know will enjoy it and take care of it than someone random. So hopefully that'll work out. I'm still figuring out the logistics, but yeah. NYC might join us. You might join us. Thanatos might join us. So should be a fun time if nothing else. I Got a Shoe said, the high price ones are very doable if you're willing to not buy other books during the year. You buy 20 books that are 30, 40 bucks, and that's $800 right there. It's all about priorities. Yeah. I totally agree. And I think about that every time I buy a cheaper book. but then I go and find a Shazam #1 for a really good price, and I'm like, how can I leave the shop without this? Like,
Or in
not a book
case,
that would have been on my list if I were to make one before I got that, but it not a book that I didn't want either.
or in my case, I have this other show that I do with this other guy that's not usually just counting down books that we want to buy, but like usually it's buying $5 books off the shelf that, you know, maybe that's $5 over 52 weeks that could be spent on something else, but at the same time I'm enjoying my exposure to stories that I haven't had a chance to view before. I would never have read Die, which is so good. I'd never have read Middle West if it weren't
Oh,
for
the
doing
other
that.
guy
So
is me.
yeah,
No,
that's you.
I
Oh,
got
sorry.
that.
So for me, it's like balancing that so that maybe I'm not buying as many of those. Um, yeah, that's my and then of course like we're all saying, you know, finding a way to move books to people that will love them and that we respect in the community, and at the same time then use some of that to get closer to grails.
Yeah, and like I said, once one of these orders from the race comes in, I'm going to have some books to sell from it. So if anyone is interested in any of them, once I show them off, there's 2 I'm keeping from the 10 of this. That doesn't give anything away because they're both 10 books. But there's 2 I'm keeping from the 10, and the rest are probably, there's maybe a third I'm going to keep, but I don't think so. The rest are definitely getting sold.
And so I want to make sure that the chat knows, if you have a list like this, books that you're thinking of hunting down. I know a lot of people don't like to nail themselves down to 6 books or what have you. I think the fun of it is not to say these are the only books I'm going after or that I'm going to blindly chase them. It's more like I can make priorities. I had 6 books last year and I got 4 and I skipped out on 2 because I thought those 2 were going up too high and I didn't want to get them. And then inversely was able to get a lot of books that I wasn't even planning on getting.
Yeah.
So
And
it's not to pigeonhole yourself. But at the same time, if you have a list like this, please tag us on Instagram if you post it, or leave a little link here if you make a video, or just leave it in the comments when you watch the video and just let us know what yours includes.
Comic Head 84 says sometimes good deals find you when you have to have a duty to stray from the list, I think. Yeah. If a good book comes up, like, you're never mad about buying it. And another thing I've been thinking about that I don't notice people doing very much in the community, which I think we could take advantage of, is trading books. So if like people are like, oh, I have this, but I'm looking for this, maybe people can work some stuff out. Might be cool. I don't know how we would exactly organize that, but.
And I think JD is like a king of that. Apparently he's really good at getting a valued book, taking real good care of it, and then getting it to somebody who wants it, who has a book that maybe in turn he wants, a golden age book or what have you.
Yeah. It does at a lot of conventions, I think. Very cool. Well, thank you. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a blast. I really enjoyed it. Next week we are back to our normal book club. We're getting another issue #1. On my channel, we'll be reading Conan by Jason Aaron #1. So make sure you go and tell your shop you want to get a copy of it if you want to see barbarian slaughtering goodness and scantily clad damsels and maybe even a Red Sonja appearance or what have you. That's what we're reading next week. And our esteemed guest, I was in the chat earlier, but he's an incredibly busy guy, so he may not have stuck around. But our guest will be Comic Tom 101. He will be joining us. He's a big Conan fan, and he's excited for this #1, and we thought it was a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, it should be exciting. The book and the guest, both looking forward to. And then the week.
He's going to be tired because he's got his normal Wednesday live stream and then a little break to eat dinner and then join us again right after.
Yeah. And then the week after that, we already have a book and a guest nailed down. So I don't know if you want to announce that now or wait.
It's fine with me. If they're ready to go, you go ahead and do it.
Yeah. The week after that, we're doing Captain Marvel #1, and you'll never guess who our guest is for that.
We struggled to find somebody who liked Captain Marvel at all.
That's a joke. plenty of people like Captain Marvel, but no one likes Captain Marvel more than Tony Sanders. So Tony Sanders will be our technically first scheduled returning guest, because we did have Bueller on twice, but that was he was substitute. Yeah. So yes, that should be great. The only thing that bums me out about that is I was not planning on buying a regular cover, because I ordered the Adam Hughes variant, which probably will not come in the day of.
No, not at all, right? Yeah.
I might just try to, I don't know, figure out how to read it.
I'll snap a photo of every single page and text them. You can digitally.
I ordered the 1 in 100 Hughes cover. I got it. She said, "Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to weasel my way into one of those, because it is a Sweet Virgin variant, and they booted the Quesada variant for it."
Yeah.
Oh, and I also ordered the Campbell variant. I forgot about that. Whoops.
Well, yeah, you did. Didn't you? Yeah, I remember you telling me you went on there and snagged
something. I ordered 2 because they were like, there was a coupon for it, and the signature was only like an extra $5. Usually it's way more than that. So I just put 2 in my cart and then accidentally ordered them. So if anyone needs a copy of that, I don't need to. So and then on New Year's Eve, we got, I don't know if you're going to be joining us or not because of your Wi-Fi situation, but on Jeffrey Comic-Con's channel, we're doing the New Year's Eve celebration with basically everyone. It's going to be like 10 people in the chat. It's going to be bonkers. Hosted by everyone from The Hunt, so Tony Sanders, JD, and Jeffrey Comic-Con on Jeffrey Comic-Con's channel. But going to be a lot of great guests. And
I will be there in some form or another, whether it's like this or whether the Wi-Fi is fixed, or whether we head home a little early just for that. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, my wife is going to be out of town, and I don't have real life friends. It's not true. I do, but I usually don't do anything for New Year's because I don't drink. So I'm usually a homebody, and so this works out great for me. What's that?
I said I'm usually asleep between being a dad and 9:30. I can see the ball drop in New York just fine, but when it comes to a West Coast, I'm out by midnight.
Yeah, so this works out great for me. So I get to hang out on my computer and talk to my buddies, and not have to be pressured into going out somewhere that I don't want to go. So it should be a great time. Come hang out with us if you are home as well. If not, have a safe New Year's, and keep an eye out in the next couple of days. If I get any graded comics in, I might go live again on a whim.
And let me say, I am not going to be doing much on my channel for this week, both because of Wi-Fi issues and because of being on this little vacation time together with the kids. And so I'm sorry that my channel is kind of dark this week. But don't worry, we'll be back to normal come next Wednesday for sure.
Comic Books NYC says I can point the camera at NYC for the big ball drop. LOL. If you might be kidding, you might be serious, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could really see your place. His view is incredible.
I want you to join Jeffrey's show just for that.
Tony Sanders says the Adam Hughes Supergirl homage by DNA is awesome for Captain Marvel. I have not seen it, and I don't want to because I cannot buy another copy of that book.
You're like Thanatos and his Green Lanterns.
Yeah. Discovery Bay says get NYC on a live stream. Yes, he was supposed to be our guest when Bueller took over. He was very ill, unfortunately, that day. So he will most certainly be a guest coming up very soon.
And I know that there's some big books coming up soon, like Donnie Cates's Guardians, which could be a great opportunity for him to come back around. So we're going to have to talk with him for sure to make sure that we make that happen.
Yeah, we got some other super cool guests lined up that we just need to find the right week to fit them in. So it's going to be a great 2019 for book club and for the comic community as a whole. Really looking forward to it, and really appreciate all of your support throughout this 2018. And thank you, John, for sticking with me for 10 weeks. Never thought we'd make it.
Dude, it's been freaking awesome. The highlight of my week. So thank you so much for
don't tell your family.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, definitely the best highlight of my week for sure. But thanks for coming to me with this idea in the first place and bringing this to fruition. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for everyone for sticking with us this late. I know I said I wanted to go short, but of course, I don't know why I tried to do that, but would have gone for another half.
16 books instead of just, no, more than that. It was 24 books instead of just one. So
yeah,
there you go.
Very cool. Well, everyone enjoy your evenings, get some rest, read some comics, have a great last few days of 2018, and see you next year.
Bye-bye.
Bye.